So it's never too late to
Mm, yeah,
find a mentor either. It's not that there's an
yeah,
age limit.
yeah. Oh, that definitely I believe it.
Yes.
Because now I have to believe in that. There's no limit to age or doing anything that you want.
So I think I really gained a lot from my team, right? So
Hmm.
having partnerships and having a team with very diverse skill sets.
Okay.
And
Did you
I think
make more connections and relationships, more friendships?
I sure did. Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
So this was a great place for me to actually I met so many people. Yes.
I'm
I met
sure.
so many
Hundreds,
people, and
hundreds and
I
hundreds.
traveled a lot, right? So I traveled to Toronto, I traveled to the Middle East,
Oh,
I traveled up and down the East Coast, right? And so I met so many members everywhere. And then at the retreat, I met everyone from every chapter came to Atlanta, right? So
okay.
so I've met and there's so many conferences around the world where I would meet members. And
Mm.
I think what would I like to have done more of? There just wasn't enough time in the day. I feel like I wish I could have met every single person because there's a
Oh,
big difference also between meeting in person and meeting on Zoom.
yeah, that's true.
So I definitely enjoyed the Zoom meetings. I mean, I got to know many people over Zoom, and I feel like I've developed good friendships that way. But it was wonderful to actually travel and meet people in person and just socialize, right? And go, meet them in their homes or meet them, just casually
Yeah.
as well. And just the relationship building
Mm. Now
was,
we have to get Ambreen off of this virtual space and get her interviewed in person as well. So this is our
absolutely, I
first
love that.
online virtual because she's so comfortable now that
Yes,
we
yeah. That's so true. This is very true. Yeah, because of COVID, yes, I
yeah,
think, everything went virtual,
you're
so it's
like
easy to kind of just be at home, right? And I think, someone who like loves to see new places, meet new
yes, yes,
people, and see people in their own element, right?
yes,
And
yes,
connect with them. I think even if you want to connect with someone professionally, you need to connect with them personally
yes, yes,
too,
yeah,
right? I
yeah.
think that's
If you
very
if you
important.
have the alignment, right? Of course. I mean, if you are, on the same wavelength, then that why not to have a personal
Yeah.
relationship as well? Yeah,
But sometimes you
definitely.
won't know if you have a personal relationship, right? Unless you actually
Mm.
spend some time.
Now we can explore this topic as well, but we are not going to get into that.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, no, you're right. You're right. But anyways, I look forward to having you in person as well. So
Yes,
that
me
would be
too.
nice. Yeah. Were your parents financially literate that you got into this, or uh, that's one question. And the second is all this investment and all this attention to how we can be when we grow up good in managing finances and be aware of how to spend and invest and all that. When do you think that should be taught in your experience?
As soon as possible, as early
And
as
that
possible.
can be,
That can be literally in elementary school. Am I kidding?
yes, I agree with you. That's why I was bringing this because
Yes.
I have a quite a bit on it. I mean, I am doing the series and maybe we can do something about it and teach parents and adults and teachers when to begin. It doesn't have to be in
No,
college and when you are
absolutely not.
grown up and when you are married. I mean, you're going to mess up everything
Of
because you
course,
don't
of
know.
course. Yeah, so this is how so my father, I mean, he came to this country as an engineering student.
Hmm.
And he always had an entrepreneur in him. So, yes,
Hmm.
by day he worked at Bechtel Corporation. He went to Johns Hopkins University,
That's
went
right.
to
Mhm.
Bechtel, studied by day, and no, sorry, worked by day at
By day
Bechtel
and
and
studied
studied by
at night.
night. So
Night. Yeah.
actually, I remember my father as always being such a hardworking person. So he's always like doing three things at once. So
That's
as
why
soon
you
as
were
I
like
came
that.
out of the womb, he was, yes, as soon as I came out of the womb, he was working and studying. And
Hmm.
then when he finished his studies, he moved to Boston and then he was always studying. So there's always a way to improve at work. He had three
Yeah.
engineering degrees, so
Mashallah. Wow.
he would always be getting some qualification at work. He always had books everywhere.
Hmm.
And then he had business interests. So while having a job as an engineer, his first investment was he had a warehouse where he was exporting, where he was selling Oriental rugs. Those Oriental
Oh,
rugs came from,
nice.
you know, Pakistan and even,
All around
yeah, oh, yeah,
other
in the region,
countries.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was selling Oriental rugs, and I was a very small child. I was like 5 years old. This was like one
So
of my
you were in
happiest.
that rich environment of business and entrepreneur and how to manage financially. I mean, you grew up with that. No wonder.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, I feel like that was a very big, actually this was a business that did not take off, by the way. He ended up
Okay.
investing in real estate,
Right, right.
but at 5 years old, I remember this so fondly. Like, I think this had such a big impact because during the days he was the engineer and the week he hired people to
Mm.
run that warehouse during the weekdays, and then the weekends.
Mm.
I would go with my father to that warehouse because my mother had two other small children, right? So she said, I can't manage all three of them. You take one, you take, and I was the
Take the
hyper one.
difficult one.
I was the difficult one. Exactly. I was very much, the one who loved to
Oh,
run around. And
yeah.
the warehouse was the best place because, I'd climb up the rugs and jump off them. It was
Oh,
the best business
wow.
for me. It was the best business. And I used to sit on the rugs and just see the beautiful
Mm.
patterns. And I feel like maybe this is how I became so much in love with the patterns, the colors, the
Mm.
the textiles, and
Must
I got
be.
to spend a lot of time with my father and the people who would work with him, and
That's
you
the
know,
best mentorship, right? To be there at that age and learn about the skills.
well,
Wow.
I don't know how much skills I learned because, like I said, I was running around.
Running around. No, no,
I was
you do
running around
learn.
and jumping off the rug.
It appears that you're running around, but children learn and
But I
observe
think
everything.
I what happened was it was a very normal thing for me to see my father always be, you know, interacting with customers, how he interacted with people, how he interacted with the people who
That's a
worked
very
with him
important
and
skill
for
too.
him. And so afterwards, he had a real estate business, and even then I was too young. I mean, I
Yeah.
used to go after school to his business, right, to his
Mm.
office, and he had a real
So
estate
you
company.
used to like to go to and learn and be there. You were not
Well,
forced.
the funny thing is, I did not know I was learning anything. What I thought that time,
Okay,
now I
that's
look
interesting.
back.
Yeah.
So
Now.
today I can say,
Mm.
when I look back, I say, I learned how my father spoke with people,
Mm.
how he managed people, how he talked. I
Mm.
saw what made him excited, what made him happy.
Mm.
I would hear, the story. He would have a lot of stories, but I don't know if he was actually thinking, "Yeah, I'm going to teacher," but I think the best way to teach
Mm.
anyone is by your example.
True.
And that's why, they have now today, they talk about
Mm.
bring your daughter to work day at
Oh,
different
yes,
offices,
yes, yes.
which is very important because I saw so many aspects of what it meant to be a real estate investor. Like, I'd go to the sites with my father that he was, considering
Mm.
buying, or
Mm.
be in the office, and I got trained answering phones, and so I learned skills like
Wow.
customer service,
And
right?
you didn't even realize that you
No,
were learning all that. That's
no, because during
amazing.
that time,
Mm.
like, and people who work with my father, I just met them recently. One of the people who work with my father and now lives in Toronto, he was so surprised that I'm even part of Open Global and that I even have had my own business, or I know anything about business, because as a teenager, I used to always tell my father, I'm not going to work as hard as you work. I'm gonna just, enjoy myself. And my father said, yes, he used to tell people, yes, he said you can major in anything. So that's why I majored in history and international relations. And I would take a lot of art classes as a teenager. I'd loved photography. I loved painting. I loved every genre of art. And my father encouraged it. And people used to say, well, what is she going to do with that? Well, maybe beti ash karegi.
Now she
That,
said
that
it
was,
in Urdu. This was in Urdu. She said,
yes, because
"Meri
it's
beti
our
ash
people.
karegi." Like my
हाँ मेरी बेटी ऐश
daughter
करेगी.
will. So translate it also.
My daughter's gonna have a great time. And you know why he would say it in Urdu, by the way? Because our people at that time, our Pakistani people who spoke Urdu, were all telling their children to become, a doctor, an engineer, a
Engineer.
lawyer.
Yes, still they
And
do, but
and
yeah.
they still do that. But I used to always say to my father, I'd have a different career every year. I'm like, I'm gonna be a National Geographic photographer. I'm going to be, I'm going to, I'm going to do this. And my father would just say, Meri beti ash karegi,
Mashallah.
whatever she
Oh,
does,
that's
you don't
nice.
say, I just do this dua that, you know, whatever you do, you're good at it and you love it.
Mm.
And, all your, duas are granted. And, as long as they're, um,
Dua is prayer. So while we are on topic of your father, I think this is the right segue to parenting. That in your experience, what is parenting?